What up, what up, what up? Welcome back to the Aces High podcast. We're your hosts, Miriah and Ty. Ty, happy Monday. What's up? How you doing?
I'm doing well. It's good Monday. It's been a good Monday so far. How are you doing?
Oh, hot as could be, but surviving.
Yep.
Hopefully, I keep surviving. If you guys just see me fall to the ground all of a sudden, then you guys know why, because it's hot.
It's
um,
getting hot in there.
yeah, like I'm freaking sweating already. The show hasn't even started, so yeah, here we go. Chat, happy Monday. Hope everybody is doing great. Good to see you all. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Hope everybody enjoyed All-Star Weekend. It looked like a lot of fun was had. I know the game was really good. Way better than, let's start right there before we even get into anything. Way better than the NBA All-Star
Yep.
games. Okay. Way better. And I've seen so many people that this was their first year, obviously, ever watching the WNBA All-Star game. You could tell it was their first year ever watching it because the tweets that were going out, like they were so shocked, that, oh my gosh, like, because we know if you watch if you watch the NBA, like their All-Star game is ridiculous. Like
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
defense, it's like, it
No,
reminds me
excitement.
of,
Yeah.
what was that basketball? I don't even know if it's still around, but remember that basketball where they would do like flips and like circus acts kind
Oh
of?
yeah. It's the Harlem Globetrotter type
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
that's what the All-Star game in the
Yeah.
NBA reminds me of. But the All-Star game, the events, the night prior, great. So yeah, hope everybody enjoyed. Like I said, chat, hello. Throwback first in the door.
What
Appreciate you,
up?
sir. As always, followed shortly by Don. Appreciate you as well. Don's actually here for the show today because her kids' softball practice got canceled because it's too hot. Too
We
hot for anything. Let's see who else we got. I know. Did we figure out last time? I don't think they had ever told us if we had butchered the name
no.
or not. What did we figure it out? I mean, we
Either
guessed it.
yeah,
You guessed it.
I said Niakila or Nakila. Could be
Nikki,
either one. Please correct us. I hate getting
if you're
people's
still
names
in here.
wrong.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're still here, give us a pronunciation. I'd love to say it properly. And thanks for joining us.
Yep. Good seeing you again. And yeah, like I hate butchering people's names. So
Mm-hmm.
and I like to say hi to everybody. It's in the chat.
Yeah.
Sin, what's up? Good to
What up,
see you.
Sin?
Appreciate you coming through. Maria, good to see you.
Yep.
Melly Mel, what's up,
What
Melly?
up, Mel? I was rooting for
Good to
Steph.
see
We're
you.
gonna get into it. I just want you to know I was pulling for Steph. I tweeted it out there.
Daniel Barry,
What
what's
up?
good? Happy Monday. Joel, what's up? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well, sir. And yeah, everybody that's not in chat, that's out there, that watches back on replay, what's up? We appreciate you all as well. I want to start off though, before we get into the All-Star anything and talk about any of that, something happened that we didn't get to talk about yet. And it was a few days ago now, but something kind of crazy because, and it's this trade that went down. And what makes it even really crazy is because after the trade, obviously we know Marina Mabry, she is participating, in the All-Star events and has to still do that right after getting traded to a new team. And then, like, literally, as soon as the All-Star game and stuff's done, she has to go back to Chicago and is like packing up her place, trying to get her stuff to move. Like, what a terrible freaking like span of events for her. But it came out that she requested the trade out of Chicago. That when she was asked about it, she said that she don't, things that happen behind the scenes, that's where she wants to keep it. She's not going to discuss anything like that.
Yeah.
But basically, she said when she went to Chicago the coach that was in place obviously had a plan for her, a plan for the team. When that coach ends up, getting fired and then replaced, well, the game plan changes, the plans change, shit changes, right? So what was once for her wasn't for her anymore. And so, she basically said, she wanted to go somewhere where she felt the fit was better. Obviously, to end up from the Sky team that's, up and building, it's a young team, it's a building team, right? To get traded to a team that could possibly be in the finals, one of the top teams in the W. Can't complain too much about that either. But she said, and it's been reported that out of, any team, this was the team that she requested to go to. So that's, good for her. I did think, though, the package. So, trade details: Connecticut Sun receive Marina Mabry and a 2025 second round pick. Chicago Sky receive Rachel Banham, Miriah Jefferson, 2025 first round pick, and rights to swap 2026 first round pick. That seems like quite a haul that Chicago pulled in for somebody that their play, whether that's for usage or, like Mabry said, the plan wasn't for her anymore, right? But her play, her numbers, everything significantly went down, right? So even with all that, Connecticut still said, hey, we can use her. We know what we're doing. Pull her over here. You guys take this. And Miriah and Rachel, they've had they're coming up into their own too. So it's not like the Sky just got two bum pieces, some picks, so they got quite a haul. What are your thoughts when this trade went through? How you feel about it? How do you feel about the package that the Sky ended up getting? And how much how do you think that this significantly ups their chances competing for a championship? Where do you think they stand with that now with this trade?
Well, first I was shocked when trade went through. It's you hardly hear about during the season trades, and this one came out of nowhere because there was no inkling or anything, and they were just about to go into the break, right? So you figured there would be just no news at all, no one would do anything.
It's your day off.
Exactly. Then all of a sudden, boom, trade. It's wait, what? Who? Then you hear it's Marina Mabry going to Connecticut and the Sky getting two players back. And it's whoa, where'd that come from? And at first I was shocked and I was okay, trying to figure it out. Why would they do this? And then to hear, Marina requested the trade and why. And I'm okay, it makes sense. Because as we know, she was the focal point of the offense last year. Everything kind of ran through her because she was the just basically the best player on the team. So it made sense. But this year, we know new coach came in and they completely retooled. They had the two high draft picks. They signed a Kennedy Carter and a Dana Evans and added all these pieces. So she was no longer the focal point, right? They believe in, all right, we gotta move the ball around. Let's work it to players. So you can see from her standpoint, hey, this isn't what I signed up for. Let me get out of here. Instead of rebuilding, let me go to a contender and try to win something. So I get that. All veterans, we know, like to do that. And, to go from fighting for the 8th spot to being up at the number 2 spot, that's pretty darn good. That's a pretty darn come up for her. I was shocked to hear that she wanted to go to Connecticut, seeing as how her and Dejanay Carrington are always going at it. That one caught me off guard. And I'm how is that going to work? But
I'd feel much better being Carrington's teammate than going against her too.
Exactly. So we've seen it work out in other places, so I'm sure they'll be fine. And that adds more feistiness to Connecticut. they're a feisty defensive group. They just got another player there. The Rachel Banham thing was fun, was interesting because we just talked about her last week, setting the record where she hit the 7 3-pointers from off the bench. And, she's been a model of consistency. It's good to see her getting some shine. And next thing you know, she's gone. So, but I like it for Chicago because they need a consistent out 3-point shooter. And she can be that model of consistency. We know she has a great shot. She can heat up. She just needs the playing time. And I think she'll get that. So she'll help them stretch the floor. And in doing so, will hopefully free up some space for the bigs inside to get the ball. Because right now, teams are kind of laying off of the guards and saying, we know you're not going to shoot from outside. So we're going to help double team the paint. What up, John B? So this helps them. And Miriah Jefferson, I'm going to need no Broxy, right? Oh, my God.
Tried it on cremate.
I got you. Probably shrunk down to a boy size,
Put on the dog now.
Yep. Laundry woes. Oh, that could be a show in itself. But back to the sky. They get a Miriah Jefferson. She's a point guard. If she could just stay healthy, she could do some good things. They need help at the point guard position, especially just someone to be a distributor who's not looking to score and do all this stuff just to get other people involved. She can do that. So I like the pickup for them. I think it was a good trade for both teams. And it's going to be interesting to see these players when they actually suit up for these teams after the break.
Yep, I agree. I was thinking, and I looked up the dates to see when the sorry, I'm trying to pull up this thing and talk at the same time to see when the trade deadline was. And so it's August 20th is the trade deadline. Mm-hmm. And the teams are on break until August 14th.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a crazy week from the 14th to the 20th. Like you're barely just getting back. And then all of a sudden everybody's like, okay, I know.
Should we make a move? Should we do something?
Yeah.
The team just got back. How are we looking?
Do they wait for players to get back? Like, do they make moves? Like, can they make moves? I would assume they can make moves while they're on break.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how this like on Olympic break thing works, but I would assume
Olympic year, everything's weird.
It don't just like halt all rules and no trades, no, can't talk, you can't do this, So do you see or do you think that we see any more moves get made before the trade deadline? And would you like to see the Aces make another move maybe?
No, I like what the Aces roster. I like where it is. Unless they can pick up like a free agent big, that's the only thing I ever worry about. When we've talked about it many times here, just adding some size so that Asia isn't taking a beating, and Kia and God forbid Alicia taking a beating down there, having to guard players who are 6'4" and 6'5",
twice her size.
Exactly. Like literally, that's the way it looks. That's the only thing. But I'm loving the way their roster is right now, and they're finding good chemistry with what they got going on. So the only thing is picking up a free agent. That's it. That's all. As far as other teams go, I don't think anyone will be doing something unless you have a situation like Marina Mabry where someone requests a trade. That's the only thing I can see coming. I think everyone's like pretty set in their ways and trying to just retool their rosters and such. Just trying to develop their rosters for the second half of the season. That's it.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think like what other situations, like you said, is there a Marina to where, maybe not necessarily a star, like a number one type superstar, like a Asia, for example, but like a not like a baseline player either, but somebody that's like on a team that's not necessarily going somewhere, and they're like, hey, this is my chance.
Yeah, Like
but I can't really.
let's take Atlanta for some oddball reason. Like it's a team that's not doing well, low in the standings, but they've got decent talent around them. They've got
Yeah.
players. Like, right. What they say, I don't know, someone's interested in a Tina Charles. Should we move her, get some draft picks and maybe another young big to come in and replace her and see if that can work out for next season? Something like that.
And I
That's the
like
only
that too
thing. That's
because
the only thing
she's
I can
somebody that's
see.
older, right? So
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
she don't have many
Yeah.
years left to chase a
Yeah.
ring, right? So if she has an opportunity to,
Right.
hey,
Oh,
if I can get in with the Aces,
I just said it.
get in with
Exactly.
the-
I just said it. Like the Aces need a big, right? So it's like, okay, we need someone just come in, like spell Asia, give us some good minutes. Can we pick up a vet? Hey, let's see if Atlanta would,
I wouldn't be mad
trade
at that.
Tina Charles. I wouldn't be mad at that either. Like that would be a great pickup. But like, let's see if Atlanta would trade Tina to us, for a pick, and we don't mind giving away that pick because we're freaking loaded.
We
Let's
don't
see if
even
they
keep any
bite.
of our drafted players anyway, so.
Exactly. Like unless you're Kate Money Martin. But let's see if they come up off that pick and we get her and we can do something. That's the only thing I can see if it's a scenario like that.
I like that, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking, why, year after year lately, for those that don't know, like I'm a Warriors fan, so I swear that team hates people that are over a certain height. Like I don't understand, right?
Yeah.
Like they're
they're the
scared of
opposite
height.
of an amusement park.
Yeah, like you're a
You gotta be
basketball
this
team that don't
tall
like
and
tall
here.
people. Like,
Yeah.
and now my WNBA team, is scared of tall people too. Like I just am not understanding like why I have to constantly slam my head against the wall and tell my basketball teams to get some height on the damn team. This is a basketball freaking team, not a damn tennis team, not a freaking golf team. Like, good Lord. But yeah, yes, and go Warriors. John V, what's up? He's hilarious, I swear.
I know.
I'm glad we got
he's running around like Zeke with his belly hanging.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's hilarious.
I got you, JV. I got you.
All right, let me pull this up. Let's get into some All-Star talk. First, let's start. None of our aces were in the All-Star festivities on the first night, but without being in the festivities, she was in the festivities. Yeah. Miss Asia Wilson out there looking gorgeous as always in her, new pants, shorts, I don't know what we're calling them, that are about to release with her Nike line. It's her one leg, but it's going to be, a one leg style that you wear out. Stay tuned. We'll see what the name is of that. But yeah, she was out looking fly as ever. And I love it because, there were so many different clips that came out, like one where she's dancing with Ellie, Ellie is actually dancing with her. Yeah, giving Asia a lap dance. And then there's another one where Flau'jae is performing and, she goes over there and her and Asia are going back and forth for a little bit. So like I said, even though Asia or any aces weren't involved in any activities on the first night, we still had plenty to see. And Asia's best friend ended up cleaning house in the festivities. Let me pull this up real quick. And Asia was sporting her own goggles on the side in support of Alicia Gray. I love that. I love the friendship. AJ even told her afterwards, now you can start buying dinner from now on because she did win. Yeah. So Alicia Gray's, this was whenever this was posted, but it says Alicia Gray's past 48 hours have been nothing short of remarkable. On Friday, she etched her name in history by becoming the first WNBA player to claim both the skills challenge and the 3-point contest titles in the same season. Now, obviously, for those that don't know, it says the same season because other players have won, like say in 2019, they won the 3-point challenge, and then 2022 they won the skills challenge. So they have both wins, but they didn't win it at the same time. She won the skills challenge, and then like an hour later or whatever goes on to win the 3-point contest. And it was crazy the way the 3 points, if those that didn't watch, the way it happened, because it literally came down to the last shot of the point challenge to whether she won or lost. So it was between her and JJ,
Jonquel Jones.
Her and JJ. And so, it goes through the first group. Those were the two highest scoring out of the first round. So then they compete to see then who wins. So Alicia goes first. She gets her score. So she's sitting there waiting. And JJ goes through, and she has her money ball left. If she makes that money ball, Alicia loses. If she misses, Alicia wins. And she missed it. And JJ, she was on fire to start the 3-point challenge the first go around. Like I was like, dang, is anybody gonna be able to beat her? Because she was like, couldn't miss like the first first little few things. And I'm just like, man. And then somehow it was just meant to be for Alicia to win. Thoughts on Alicia Gray cleaning up the 2 wins?
So happy for her, because she's one of those quiet players that's not talked about a lot. She's been on bad teams, the Dallas Wings, now the Atlanta Dream, but she's a very good player. Like, we can talk about some of the best guards in the league. She's one of them, right? That's just who she is. And to see her get some shine is great. And, she's so quiet and down to earth and humble. It was good to see her win the 3-point contest. Her reaction when JJ missed the final ball, she won, and she was like, and then all the people just coming and surrounding her and congratulating her and celebrating her. Oh, you got that? Please pull it up. It was just fun to watch. And that was great. And then Holly Rowe interviews her afterwards and even says to her, hey, you got a chance to win the skill that was the skills challenge when she won that, and that was great. But then Holly Rowe was like, hey, you got a chance to win the 3-point contest, and then she does it. And that was super fun. Like, historic. It was fun. So happy for her. I mean, I tweeted out that her smile is infectious. And it is. It's good to see her just enjoying herself and having fun. Asia right here being her biggest cheerleader. And, whenever we talked about this with like Kate Martin, whenever like Asia Wilson's your biggest cheerleader, you're in good company. And we know they were teammates at South Carolina and they played together, and that's good stuff. But to see that friendship remain and them having fun, it was awesome to see. So I'm super happy for her. Oh, that was the play where Asia fouled her.
We'll get into that. The game,
but yeah, super fun, super happy for her. So it was just such a joy. That's the word I want to use. Such a joy to see her, win and get some shine and get that recognition. Yeah, that's everybody coming up to her and celebrating with her. And you see Asia's right there, the number one person, big old kid that she is. But look,
Asia and Ryan Howard.
But both
Ryan Howard South Carolina teammates.
Yep. Ryan is
Ryan
her
Howard
teammate
has
right
her
now with
Alicia Gray
t-shirt on. Yeah, but at the beginning of that, Steph Dolson, who competed, was jumping with her. Marina Mabry, who is a competitor. You see Marina Mabry just slapping hands, giving her a hug right there. They were all jumping with her. celebrating with her. So it's that's like that magical fun moment. That's great to see. And you love to see that in competition. And look, her just smiling from ear to ear.
Yep. And you see even JJ comes,
Yeah,
hugs
come
her,
over.
like she
Yeah.
just lost to her,
Yeah.
but yep,
Yep.
like so happy.
Yeah.
Love to see it. And something that was pretty cool this year is that, let me get back on here where I can see you guys. Okay.
Yeah.
So is that you like the payout that she would have won was only $2,500 for each prize.
Yeah.
Aflac, however, this year came out and added a $55,000 bonus to each prize. So she ended up taking over $100,000 that she won in a matter of a couple hours or whatever. So
yeah.
a hell of a payday for
Hell of a payday.
an all-star festivities, like
Yep.
a night that normally they're all out partying and prior, we'll get into it when we talk about the game, but like they normally go all out. And last year the festivities were in Vegas.
They're in Vegas. Oh yeah.
We know they weren't in Vegas this year, and it was probably for a reason. Let's say that because they were trashed, like hungover by all could be for the All-Star game last year. So to a night that you're going to celebrate, a weekend actually that you're going to celebrate, you're an all-star, whatever, and then to walk away with, $110,000 in your pocket that you didn't have prior to that. Not a bad night, I'll say whatsoever.
Yeah. They calculated.
Shout out
they
to
said
Affleck.
They said the exact total she got for the night was 155, 150. So $155,000, 150 is what she walked away with. And that's a great payday for just being in two competitions, right?
Yeah.
So shout out to her. You can see why Asia was on the sideline like, yeah, you paying for dinner. You got that money. So they were having big fun with that. Angel, my favorite player. Hey, two good players to be your favorites. No problem with that. So
shout
they're
out
super fun.
There was a lot of great pictures and clips going and to see, like, let's get into the All-Star game. My favorite thing to start off is the fact that you get to see so many players on the court together that you normally wouldn't get to see play together, right?
Play together.
Obviously, the biggest headline ones being Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark finally sharing the court together after playing against each other since they were kids, like little kids.
Literally,
And, always against each other. Obviously, we know this big thing between the two fan bases and all this that's made out to be, right? So to finally see those two on the court together, but like even like to see like last year, Jewel and Asia, there's that clip going around because they're on opposite teams, after the game, like Jewel's all there smiling away and Asia's walking up all serious.
As soon as she turns, she sees Asia. Yeah.
So to see like Jewel's one of my favorite players, to see her and, Asia on the court together. Obviously, and we'll play the clip too. But to see Asia going against, Alicia Gray, her best friend, and they're playing against each other, like literally against each other, guarding each other. And there's that, there's a foul and, they're going back and forth about it. I'll play that in a second. But, so there's all these different, people on the court sharing the court together that are like my favorite things about the All-Star game, besides anything else. But then, obviously there's so many other things to get into, but the number one thing, obviously, Enrique getting All-Star MVP. And, going into halftime, Enrique was quiet. There, we hear from no Enrique, right? And it was said coming out that Coach Cheryl Miller, during the halftime talk, whatever, specifically called out Enrique by name and said, take a deep breath and play your game. And Enrique said, that's all she said to me.
Yep.
She said, but for her to be talking and then to not call or single out anybody, but to call and single out my name, I was like, okay, let me take a deep breath. I got this. Like I got this, and then obviously we know all the drama going into Arike not being on the Team USA. She withdrew her name from Team USA. Yeah. She was asked about that in an interview that she did that came out, I think, today or yesterday. And her reasoning pretty much behind it, she said that, there's politics involved in all of sports, obviously, right? And she said that while you're like, before even the team, who's on the team, whatever comes out, like there's practices being held, like, you're meeting up with all these players, stuff's being, done. And she said she just felt like she didn't fit, that she wasn't a fit. Yeah. She felt the vibe was off, that something wasn't right. Yeah. Right.
So she wasn't messing with it.
Yeah. So she withdrew her name. And now there's a part of an interview I'm going to play in a little bit. And it's part of Asia and Stewie in their press conference after this All-Star game. And they're asked about a question about the USA team. And I'll remind you guys to come back to me talking about Arike saying she withdrew herself and kind of tie it all back together. But as I pull up all this stuff, give me your thoughts and your biggest takeaways from this All-Star game.
One, it was a great game. It was fun to watch. It had everything, right? It had the competitiveness. It had the fun of seeing these players play together. It had the fun of seeing them just compete against each other. They took it seriously, but not too seriously, right? It wasn't overly serious. And we got to see these two play for the first time, Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. I'm hoping this puts all that crap that we heard for the first half of the season to bed. They hate each other, and Angel Reese is the villain and all this crap. Like, end it now. This was great. Hits her with the pass, and the first thing they do, they look for each other, and they meet up, slap hands. Like, that doesn't look like two players that hate each other. And there was more of that as the game went on. Like, during the timeout, they were standing next to each other, patting each other on the back. Coming off the sideline. Angel Reese even posted a picture of Caitlin Clark coming onto the bench, and she's greeting her with her hands out to give her a slap. Nothing but good vibes. And that's how it was between them and between everyone else in the game. It was good stuff. And it was just fun to see. It was a great game from all perspectives. It couldn't ask for anything better. As far as Arike, it was Arike being Arike.
Yeah.
This is who Arike Agumbawale is. She's one of the best players in the league, right? She's the third leading scorer in the league, being total points and average points per game. And that's only because she missed like 2 or 3 games with an injury. If it wasn't for that, she'd probably be scoring more. She'd probably be up to second. I don't think anyone's catching Asia. That's a different story. But everyone got to see, Arike do her thing. And we talked about this earlier in the year, how she had a 40-point game where she hit 7 3-pointers. She was 7-11 from the field. An outstanding game. That's who Arike is. So she's a great player. To see her go off and get some shine, that was just Arike being Arike, to be honest with you. That's what she does. We know when she heats up, she's going to heat up and go at it. These two are funny. And AT said she's going to do some bumping and stuff on Dewana Bonner too. I told you.
The wives going against each other. Gotta love it.
AT don't care. When you get on the court, she going at you. Even in an all-star game. Oh, it's so fun to see. And that's the dynamics of it. Those little, interpersonal matchups that you saw. And that's part of what made it all fun. let's listen to Angel Reese real quick, talking about
Let's
the
listen
All-Star
to
game,
her.
her experience. Yeah.
Angela, I know you're never asked questions about Caitlin, and she's never asked questions about you, but how about the experience of being teammates and actually getting to be on the floor together? Because you did have quite a few minutes of run there together in this second quarter.
Yeah, it's so cool. I know when she gets the ball, I'm running to look for the ball because I know she's going to throw it. So she's been great to play with. I mean, the future, we're going to be playing with each other a lot. Hopefully in 4 years, we can be Olympians together. So,
Angel, it's been a terrific rookie.
Hopefully in 4 years we can be Olympians together. And I'm sure if, as long as obviously their careers continue how they're on path to continue, that will definitely be a thing that happens.
They'll be there for sure. They'll be part of that new regime that takes off, that takes over and represents Team USA, you know, in the Olympics and in the World Championships and such. They will definitely be there.
Yeah.
And she's such a great ambassador for the game. Yeah. That was in response to Ryan Howard saying, she saw me hugging her mom.
Clip I had played earlier, of Alicia Gray.
Yeah, when she turns and looks at them.
It's like you see her face
Look
here,
at her
like
face.
it's all like, what the hell?
What's going on there?
And so
But at the very beginning of that, in the far right corner, you can see Ryan going to hug her mom too. So it definitely did happen.
Yeah. And then so Ryan says, I want y'all to know she looks like that because I'm hugging her. And then, and then in parentheses, her mom. Yeah. What a hater. And then Alicia Gray puts this. And that literally looks exactly like how she looks.
That's the face she made. Yeah.
And you know what else is hilarious is that somebody had posted this meme and said this was Alicia Gray after winning that both challenges. And so somebody said, oh, you got to put goggles on it, right? Because it didn't have it at first. And then somebody put the goggles on it. And that literally looks like Alicia Gray. Like she has her little face and she just and when she's there holding her 2 trophies, she looks exactly like that picture with the memes put on.
The internet is undefeated.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
But this is one of my favorite pictures of the night right here.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And Asia's mic'd up and she was saying some crazy stuff already.
Oh yeah, Asia's reckless. We know that.
She said the N-word and they let it fly through, like they didn't even bleep it out. Like I'm just like, holy
I don't know why they put a
Get
mic
it together,
on Asia.
lady.
We've seen Asia in interviews during games and she's cursing and stuff and she's like, oh, excuse me. Like, I don't know why they put a mic on her. I know she's great, but you can't be micing up Asia Wilson during the game because you never knew what she's gonna say. Oh, but that is a great photo.
The mic ups were good. They had Asia, they had Caitlin, they had Angel.
Yeah, I think Brittany Griner was mic'd up too, right?
Oh yeah, Brittany. She was the one from. I was trying to think who the other one from Team USA. Yeah, Brittany. So some notes that I wrote down, about the game were one, and me and you talked about this, and I swear to you guys, me and Ty and I, we talk about this a lot. Okay. And we have never talked about this with anybody else. Nothing, right? Never have posted about it. Nothing. So as the game's going, Ty and I are talking about this thing that's happening. And shortly after, I look on social media and I find somebody else that posts about this thing that's happening. So I share it with Ty and I'm like, obviously we're not crazy because we're not the only ones.
It's not just us.
Yeah. Like I started thinking, maybe it's just because we're Aces fans. So, and we have mentioned this to you guys before that when the Aces play the Sparks, right? And we, anybody that knows, obviously Hamby used to be on the Aces. She got traded to the Sparks. Okay. So she always, and it works because the Sparks beat the Aces, right? She always plays the Aces like she has some get back to get, right?
Yeah.
And so we were always talking about, like, you know, she hates Becky because the whole thing, you know, stems with Becky, right? So she hates Becky, so she plays the Aces hard and yada yada, right? So during this All-Star game, Asia's on Team USA, Hamby's on Team WNBA. They're playing against each other, they're guarding each other, and there's like a play, and you know, anybody that knows, no matter what sport, regardless, male, female, the All-Star games, like, and I mentioned this to start the game, there's hardly ever any defense played. Like, you know, when you see somebody, like, usually like a player, you know, like Enrique, you see like a player starts going off, like the team just feeds that player the ball, right? So that they can, you know, be the MVP. Defense isn't really played. You know, if there's like some matchup, you know, like the two wives going against, you know, each other, they'll put, you know, some fun into it, yada yada, but never like defense, like you're playing an actual freaking game, right?
Yeah.
So there's a play, and I forget what even happened, but I just remember looking up, like I'm looking down my phone and I look up at the TV and I just see Hamby has the ball and Asia's there, like kind of guarding her, but just kind of standing, right? And like between Hamby and the hoop, and Hamby like fucking charges at her like she's a bull. And I'm just like, holy shit, like, what are you trying to freaking take her out? Like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
And immediately, like, me and Ty are in the DMs, like, did you see that? You know, like, Becky's not there. Becky ain't coaching. Like,
right?
what? Like, why are you pissed off at Asia? Like, what the hell?
This ain't Aces versus Sparks.
Yeah, like, and like we've seen like in pressers, and we talked to you guys about this after the game when Hamby's like in the presser, and she's like, "Oh, I wish I got the calls like Asia gets." You know, so that was our start where it was like, "Oh, okay, we're like they used to be teammates." Like, what? You know, like
I know.
And you know, it's funny because Ty sends me this interview that happened a few years back, obviously before Hamby got traded. And it's of Hamby's daughter, like doing an interview with Asia. So Hamby's daughter is asking Asia the questions, yada, yada. And like one of the first questions was like, who's a worse dresser, or something about the worst, the dresser that she doesn't like the most or whatever. And she says Hamby to start it off the interview, right? So, and then more questions go by, and then like it ends with her asking Asia like, who's your best friend? And Asia goes, your mom. And then Hamby's daughter just starts cracking up, and Asia's like, oh, even you knew that was a joke or something, right? Like, I'm just like,
it's too funny.
Like,
Okay, stuff you can't make up. Yeah.
I'm like, so maybe there was some back behind the scenes stuff that nobody ever knew. I don't know. Maybe it was because Hamby was supposed to be a star, Las Vegas' star, and all of a sudden Asia came in, and it's her team, it's her city, it's her everything, and Hamby gets tossed out. Who really knows? But yeah, I thought that was pretty funny.
That was hilarious.
Another thing was, why was Kelsey Plum playing so much? Like, coming off the last game that we seen from Kelsey Plum, where she literally airballed like 6 or 7 shots and missed a whole nother freaking 10, 15 shots, like crazy, like the worst night I've ever seen from her, into playing for this game. And I had to look at her minutes, but I swear she was on the court so much and not doing shit again, like still couldn't. And we know she can't play defense. So it's just like, what is going on here? And then Jackie, somebody that should be on the court, is like, just like, I didn't even see her get on the court till like the fourth quarter, it felt like. So I'm just like, what is going on? Like, if you're expecting this team to actually win, like when it counts, like in the Olympics, this lineup, you got to figure it out, because whatever the lineup changes that were going on was not it. It was not it. So that, Grandma Diana. So at the beginning, you know, when they're doing the the introductions, she was tearing up, right? So obviously, you know, it's speculation, but a lot of people think this will be her last year. For sure, her last Olympic year, right?
Oh yeah.
After the game, well, even in the fourth quarter, when it already appeared that Team USA wasn't going to win, Diana was pissed.
Yeah.
She's over there pissed off. She's yelling at them. Like, I'm like, man, she's at. You would think this was the freaking finals. Like,
yep.
She was pissed. There was no way she wanted to lose to them.
Nope.
Like, whether it's because that's the younger group, that's the whatever.
She's at home. Yeah.
That's
she
her
did not
last
want to take
All-Star
that
game.
out.
I don't know, but
Yep.
she was pissed. So that was my takeaways there. I saw this tweet that went out, and it perfectly summed up exactly how I felt about this thing. Paige Beckers, which I love, huge Paige fan. I can't wait till she gets into the W. The tweet said, Paige Beckers is the only WNBA player not in the WNBA.
Yep. So true. It is so true.
Because why is she on more stuff than even the girls that are there on the All-Star team, on the
exactly. I mean, she was in panels, talk groups. She's at every game, at every event. Like, she's all over. And it's like you would swear she was like a 5-year veteran, face of the league. Like, it's like she was everywhere. And she's been that way throughout the season too. She's appeared on games on the East Coast, games on the West Coast. She's everywhere. And it just feels like she's already in the league, but she's not in the league. So that tweet was perfect. I loved it.
Yeah, like I was like, because I've been thinking that because I keep seeing her face on everything, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like
she's literally everywhere.
Like, and she's made for that role. That's why I hope that it worked out perfect, that she is the draft pick for the Valkyries, right? Because it's just set up for that to be her team, that to be her market, and her to just take it and run with it.
Yep.
And maybe that's why already they're setting it up. Who knows, right? But
who knows? Yeah, could be Paige Becker's campaign, but it's working.
Yeah, it's crazy because, like I said, there's WNBA players that aren't getting as much shine. But all that aside, she fits the role perfectly. Like, she handles it so well. She talks so well. She's
like I said, she carries herself like she's a 5-year vet in the WNBA already. Like, I've been here. I know what this league is, blah, blah, blah. And this is what women's basketball is and everything else. And it's like, wait a minute, she still has a year of college to play. Like, she's set up perfectly for it. And yeah, I would love to see her on the Valkyrie, just being the face of that team and just launching that off into the stratosphere.
Yeah, I definitely hope that works out. This little
going back to the game real quick, and Alicia Gray, if Arike Ogumawale didn't go off, she could have been the MVP of that game. Like, she was the second leading scorer. She tied a record for most steals in the All-Star game. She had like 3 rebounds and 3 assists. She had a really good All-Star game. So, like, that continues the great weekend she had. So she kind of did it all both days.
Yeah. And another thing that I didn't even mention yet, obviously the 2 rookies both broke records. Angel became the first rookie to get a double-double in an All-Star game. And I forget what the exact date was, but it's been even years and years and years since anybody, period, had got a double-double. I put 2009, but you guys know my memory is shit. So, like, I just remembered hearing a date, and it seemed like it was that forever long ago. So, around then. So amazing for her. Double-double queen, obviously, already. And then Caitlin Clark became, she took the rookie record for the most assists with 10 in an all-star game. And you know what's crazy is that the record for all time is held by Sue Bird with 12, right? And the thing is that Caitlin could have easily passed that record had she been any type of selfish about it. Now, the thing is, and why I say that is because we know obviously that's a huge part of her game, right? And that was through like basically two halves, like the first, I mean, not two halves, 2 quarters, the first half of the basketball game that she got that. Because basically after halftime, when Enrique took her deep breath and exhaled and came out like a superhero, there was a point where you could see the coaches trying to check Caitlin, you know, get Caitlin to check into the game. But in order to do that, Enrique has to come out. And you see that Enrique is going off, right? And the coach is over there telling, you know, Caitlin to go, and Caitlin like says something and she goes back to the bench. And it said that Caitlin took herself like basically out of the game and said that she didn't want to take away from Enrique getting the MVP performance. So she wanted Enrique to stay in the game and be able to get what she was going after. You know, so I thought that was hella cool of her, you know, to just be that, you know, aware of things. And obviously, you know, you could go in there and set a record by one of the GOATs, Sue Bird, that's probably been held for who knows how long that freaking record's been held. And 3 more assists, she would have broke it. 2 more assists, she would have tied it. You know, that's so simple in a whole half of a basketball game, right? For Caitlin Clark. And, you know, so for her to say, oh no, you know, keep Enrique in, like, I thought that was hella cool. So yeah, shout out to them. And oh, another thing, you know, props to Angel, because, and you know, if some people have seen this going around, but I have the pictures, I'll pull them up. That there was a girl after the All-Star game and she's holding a sign and it has Reese's Pieces, you know, taped all the way around the sign, and it says, Angel, like something like, Angel, I'll give you all of these if you give me your shoes. And when Angel's, you know, coming, you know, leaving the game or whatever, and coming through the crowd, I'm sure somebody pointed, you know, the girl out to her or whatnot. But without hesitation, like Angel's walking, she looks, she sees the the sign, and Angel bends down right away and takes the shoes off her feet and hands them to the girl, and then gets a Sharpie and signs the shoes for the girl. And obviously doesn't take the Reese's Pieces either, right? But like, I thought that was so awesome. Like, and I put this tweet out there, like, that's something that girl will remember for the rest of her life. You know, like something that took Angel literally 2 minutes of her time to stop and do. And she a lifelong memory she made for that little girl, you know. And so hats off to her, shout out to her, because so many times we see stars just pass up opportunities like that. And like I said, it literally takes seconds, minutes of your time to do a gesture that's going to mean something to them for the rest of their lives.
It was great to see. Like I said, she's a great ambassador for the game, a great young ambassador, and she's saying all the right things. She does all the right things, and you can tell it's genuine. It's from a genuine place of, I want to support my fans who support me. And like, this isn't the first thing we've heard about her, you know, signing stuff for fans when she's on the bench. That was that young fan who wanted to meet her and couldn't, and she was like, let's link up, I'll fly you out, we'll do something, and she made it happen. So these are the great stories that don't get enough attention, and they should, because it's just one of those great feel-good things. And like you said, these young kids will remember that stuff for the rest of their lives. And they'll go on to maybe become WNBA players or support the league in their own way, but they'll never forget it.
Exactly.
Look at Stewie's face.
All right, let's. They both had enough, and this is the last question of the presser, so they're definitely done.
They're like, what are you asking us now?
All right, let me make sure. Where's the damn?
talent on Team USA. You've won all these gold medals. But when you're bringing these teams together, like what goes into establishing the hierarchy of, okay, this may go through me. As you mentioned, everybody's unselfish. Everyone can take over. But how do you kind of establish the hierarchy of the team?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a fine line of playing your game, but also knowing who's, to the left and right of you. And we know that we have an advantage already because of our depth. So when we're on the court, we're looking for the best shot.
Yeah.
And then obviously not turning down opportunities to attack. So if that makes sense, just knowing when it's time to go, when it's time to attack, when you're in your spots, and us as teammates, putting our teammates in the best spots possible to succeed.
Now, obviously, I told you guys I was going to play that and bring it back and wrap it around to Arike, because with Arike, we saw what she's capable of, right? She can go off. She can change a game. We see her do that during the regular season. We also see her go out there and lay an egg at the same time. It's not like she's going to go out there and drop 30 to 40 points every night. She also, as I talked about, usually in all-star games, when somebody's getting hot, the team will feed that player to get them, to feed them their MVP pretty much, right? Arike don't have to be fed because she doesn't share the ball. That's on her own team. That's on an all-star team. That's on Team USA. And even before I knew of her saying the reasons why she withdrew and she felt this way and that way and this way and that way, that was one of my main reasons for her not being on the team, is because on a team where you're full from the first player to the 12th player is a star, you can't go out there and just ball hog and be selfish and say, I'm going to be the star of this team and I'm going to score 40 points and I'm going to lead this team to victory and I'm going to do this, because it's not a you thing. Now, over there on your team where your other stars are hurt and you're just carrying the team and you're allowed to just do whatever you want, that's fine. That's what you do. That's your game. That's why you're in a perfect situation for you right there. And that's why it's unfortunately not a perfect situation for her to be on Team USA. As much as I like her, and she's a hell of a player. She's so fun to watch, right? Like the moves and her handle, and just hella exciting player to watch. But that's not the basketball that you need to beat and compete and win gold in the Olympics. It's not. Yeah.
The Olympics, that's one of the things that people forget about. Like, the Olympic game is very team oriented, because the rest of the nation, the rest of the countries around the world, they have legitimate teams that play together year round. Whereas, like, we see in WNBA here in the US, the WNBA and NBA, they just kind of get together a little bit during the year and then really during the summer and get together and kind of play some exhibition games. And that's their tune up for the Olympics. That's it. Rest of the world, they're doing this year round. Right. And they may bring in some players, like we know there's players in the NBA and WNBA that they bring in and they play for their respective countries. But the core of the team is already together. So that's the big difference. So you have to be team oriented. You got to know when to gel and everything that Stewie just said, right? When to be selfish, when to not be selfish. It's a different kind of basketball. So yeah, I can see that from her standpoint. Hey, she's used to being the top dog. She was the top dog at Notre Dame. She gets drafted by Dallas. She's the top dog there, without question. So it's a totally different mindset. So as much as I can see her being on the team and helping, her not being on the team is fine. There's plenty of other players that can take her place and help the team win. So it's okay.
Yep. I agree. Here's that video of Angel
yeah.
Reese leaving.
Yeah.
Let me see. Is this go big? Okay.
Yeah. You can see somebody yelled at her to stop and pointed it out. That's the girl. And she immediately kicks them both off, starts signing. Praise you, Angel. You hear that?
Aww.
But it's the girl's reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this is the sign that the little girl had right here.
Yeah,
So it says,
I'll
Angel, I'll
trade
trade
you.
all these pair of shoes.
Yeah. So cute.
And she's in an Angel jersey, you know, so
Yeah. Yeah.
it's not like it's just some parent, you
Some
know,
random
sending their
thing.
kid up there. Oh, try to go get Angel shoes. Like she's
Nope.
there, you know, paid on the floor tickets, you know, they were going for $1,000+.
Yeah, them ain't cheap.
In her Angel jersey with her sign ready. So
Mhm.
hey, like I said, that's memories that girl, she'll remember that for the rest of her life. So
Yep.
that's awesome of Angel to do that. Really my last thoughts from All-Star, you know, to wrap up are that during that press conference, Asia was asked about Aaliyah Boston, and I guess Aaliyah Boston during all the All-Star festivities or sometime recently, it was put out there that the reason she chose to go to South Carolina was because of Asia.
Mhm.
Obviously Asia, when she heard that in the presser, you could tell she didn't hear that before because she acted genuinely shocked. And even before the guy even got the question completed, she's like, oh wow, like when he said because of you, you know.
Uh-huh.
And she said basically that to her, like Candace Parker was that person, you know, that
Mhm.
she did this because that's what Candace did. She did this because that's how Candace did. She did, you know, like Candace was the person that she looked up to. And so to now be in that position that
Yeah.
girls are going to a certain school because of you and girls are doing this because of you, you know, she's
Mhm.
you know, talked about, you know, how what an amazing feeling that is. So like I thought that was pretty cool because we know obviously Aaliyah Boston, she's already a star in her own right, you know.
Yep.
Obviously not the Asia
So much
star,
so.
but
Yeah.
she's on her own way there, you know. So like just to hear things like that from, you know, other players, and like I loved, you know, for the respect, because yeah, you can obviously get
Yeah.
out there and you battle and you go against these girls and all
Mhm.
this shit, but like it doesn't have to be hate once you
No.
know, the
Once the
step
final
off the
whistle
court,
blows,
right? Like
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you can respect each other's game and
Yeah.
whatnot. So and yeah, obviously, yeah, the All-Star game, it was awesome. I know Team USA was getting a lot of hate online after for losing.
For losing, yeah.
You know, the final score 109 to 117. And, you know, they talked about, and even Stewie said in that presser, like, yeah, though that Team WNBA, they're great, right? But and we're not coming out. Oh, I'll bring up the partying in Vegas stuff right here. But she said we're
Mhm.
not coming out and playing like our best defense, you know, whatever. But when
Yeah.
you give up 117 points to a team, that shouldn't happen. It shouldn't
Yeah.
matter, regardless what's happening, what kind of game, what
Yeah.
kind of whatever. Like you shouldn't be giving up 117 points to anybody, you know. So
Mhm.
like she said, that was the basic thing. Like, but they talked about how, you know, the coach said, like literally 4 days ago, you guys were playing with a completely different other team that you guys have been playing with the whole season already. You
Yep.
know, like muscle memory, team, you know, where this player is going to be, where this teammate's going to be. Like that's a thing. That's, you know, you build chemistry with people. We talk about that all the time. So now to go into a team that you never played with some of these people ever a day in your life before, right? Like you've been playing against them for years. You're not playing
Yeah.
with them. And now to have to gel, like even I said, the coach like even has to learn, because the people she's putting out there together, you would have thought she was freaking
Yeah.
blind, you know. It's like, so everybody has to learn what the hell is going on. The last time Team WNBA and Team USA played against each other, Team USA got their ass kicked as well, and then went on to win the gold medal. Let's not forget. So I'm not worried. I'm not freaking worried whatsoever.
And here's the thing about that. Like, people will see Team USA and just think, oh yeah, they're playing against the NBA, the other WNBA players, they're scrubs. No, that's not the case. Let's remember the WNBA is compiled of the best around the world. So yeah, while Team USA has a portion of the best, there is still a large portion of the best left. And we've seen that. When you have an Arike Gumbawale, an Alicia Gray, Dewana Bonner, you know, these are really good players that they're going up against. Like, they're not going up against just some scrubs here. Like Aneka Ogumake, who's a former MVP. Hello. Right. You see what I'm saying? Kelsey Mitchell. We know what scoring she can do. Like, these are great players here that they're going up against. They're not going up against scrubs. So let's put that out there. And this is a great test for them, a great tune-up game. And let's not forget, Team USA had the lead going into halftime. They were up. The difference was Arike Gumbawale took that deep breath, and everybody was teasing her about that. And she just completely went off in that third quarter. There was nothing anybody on this earth could have done to stop her. And that was the difference in the ball game. That was it. I don't foresee anyone else around the world going off for 20 plus points in one quarter against this team. Like, that's just something that doesn't happen. That was a huge anomaly. So I believe they will be fine. They will get it together. They will work it out. And like you said, 4 years ago, it was a wake-up call then. You saw Diane Taurasi talk about it after this game. Like, hey, this goes to show you we could get got on any night. So let's get together, get this right. And I'm sure they will go and do that. And Cheryl Reeve is a very good head coach. She's won 4 championships. She's like has 2 other championships as an assistant coach. She's has championship coaching DNA in her. She'll get this right and they'll be fine. But I don't think it's any big thing for Team USA to lose the Team WNBA, because they're not going, like I said, they're not going against scrubs. These are very good players here, and it's great competition.
Yeah, I get this. Like, I totally get this, and that's with any sport, anything. You know, there's going to be politics with it, bullshit with it, and yeah, you know, unfortunately, because of that, some people that should be on the team aren't. And I mean, that's how it's going to be.
Yeah. And it's another thing that
other
fans
teams
want to
around
see.
the world,
Fans want to see who they want to see, right? Because of their own selfish reasons. Oh, that's my favorite player. I want to see them on the team. But that's not the way it works. We're here for capturing gold and glory for our country. That's it. That's the bottom line. So that's what you got to do.
Yep. And this happens every time. Like, this ain't nothing new. Because people are new to the league and are fans of people that are new to the league that didn't make the team and are mad. But I mean, this happens every single Olympic year. Every single Olympic year it's happened.
Yeah.
So
just think of these all-star games in itself.
It's not going to do anything.
Yeah. Think about these all-star games in itself. How we're like, how's this player not on?
Yeah. It's all politics into it.
Right? Like, what's going on there? Like, we look at the NFL and Pro Bowls and stuff like that, and we're like, wait a minute. How is this person not a Pro Bowler? Wait, how did this guy not make all pro first team? What kind of garbage is that? right? We as 49er fans, we're still trying to figure out how Roger Craig isn't in the Hall of Fame and the politics behind that bull crap. So in all sports and all walks of life, this is the BS behind the scene that goes on. It's unfortunate, but
Yeah.
we got to keep our eyes on the prize, and that's winning gold in France. Go Team USA. Just bring it home.
All right, let's talk about a little bit the league. Obviously, with all the new eyes comes new money, comes all of this. So it was announced over this weekend that the Phoenix Mercury are getting $100 million practice facility, which is huge. You know, it's unfortunate that there's still teams that don't even have this, you know. But we have seen this affect other teams not get players, because why is a star going to go to this team that they have to practice in some little high school facility when I could go over here and get treated like a princess and have the top of the top state of the art everything, right? Like, why would you do that? So finally, Phoenix Mercury getting on board, getting their own. And now rumors are coming out that sometime before the teams get back from break, that Chicago Sky will announce that they too are getting a new practice facility. You know what's crazy is that when I was reading about the Sky, you know, they don't know yet if there's another facility that they could be moving into and redo that one, or like, you know, because it's all just rumor. The for sure info hasn't come out yet, but the fact that, okay, they're finally getting one, right? And we know that last year at some time, Kalia Copper was interviewed while playing for the Sky and had mentioned about, like, they need to get their shit up to date, basically, you know, like, this is ridiculous. Like, players can go play elsewhere where there's stuff, right? Well, she's no longer there. The Sky were interested in Skylar Diggins-Smith and NECA coming there in this offseason. They were both of them very vocal about joining Seattle because the facilities that they have there and everything, right? So I was looking at the Sky and, you know, their facilities, and it had said since 2011, the Sky have practiced at the Saks Rec Center in Deerfield, about 30 miles from the team's home arena. Saks is owned by the Deerfield Park District. Players' team-issued apartments are near the facility, so the team stays in a hotel closer to the arena on game days. Like, so much bullshit they have to go through just to be able to practice and play basketball. Okay, you live over here, you practice over here, but you got to come stay. You're in the same city, your own city where your house is, but you have to come stay in a hotel over here because you live so far away from where you actually play basketball. Like, that is ridiculous. And
it's
so
terrible.
they better come out and announce that they're getting a new practice facility when you have 2 new rookie stars on your team bringing in enough money, and there's no reason why they should have to be going through some freaking dumps like that. And not only that once you do that, now you'll be able to bring other stars to the team to actually play with them instead of just Joe Schmo, right? Like, so definitely all the teams, it's about time they all freaking get on board and get these girls what they deserve to be playing in. Like, this is ridiculous.
We talked about, we mentioned it last week, and we talked about it some previously about how, like, over the past 4 or 5 years, there's been a new influx of owners into the WNBA, and they are respecting the WNBA, and they want to treat them equally to whatever else they got going on, right? They respect the game, they respect these women, and they're investing in them. And we talked about how last week when Mark Davis purchased the Aces, like, he respected them, was pushing for charter flights. That just didn't happen this year, people. It didn't. He was one of those young new owners who was pushing for charter flights. He built the Aces a facility where they can practice and get treatment all in one. He was one of those owners, right? And we talked about the size here in New York. Asian Draymond put it in the chat there. Matt Ishbia, who's the owner of Phoenix, ponied up his money to build them a facility. And ever since he purchased the team a few years ago, he purchased the Sun and the Mercury at the same time. And whenever he spoke about the teams, he spoke about both equally. So you had these young, new, I'm saying young, but these new owners who are infusing the league and treating their teams the way they should be treated. Where now we're seeing older owners getting on board and doing things like the Chicago Sky owner. He's been around for 15 something years now, more than that. My math is off. Sorry, people. But he's been around forever. We're seeing now him finally getting on board. We're like, oh, well, they need facilities. They need this. They need that. Let me invest in them. Imagine that. This is something he could have been doing in 2005, right? But he's just now doing it. Like, dude, you should have been on board. But it's great to see it finally happening. And hopefully the other teams with some of these older owners get on board and, make this just the common thing where everyone has their own practice facilities and they're taken care of.
I agree. All right. Let's give out our mid-season awards and then we're getting out of here. Couple of them, obviously, very easy for us, especially. Let's start it off. MVP. Who you got?
Wow, it's so hard. Who am I going to pick? It's Asia's world. Everybody else is just living in it. I don't care what argument people make. We know she's it. And you heard it during the game. They're in Phoenix, foreign territory. And the crowd is chanting MVP to her as she's shooting free throws. That's all you need to know. Like, the people know. You can't fool them. They know. She's it.
Obviously, I agree. Do you have her as DPOY as well, or has somebody else snuck up into that position?
I got her there as well. She's leading the league in blocks. And like I said, she's I forget where she's ranking now, but at one point she was in top 5 in steals as well. So she's doing everything out there defensively. So yeah, I easily got her down for that as well.
Yeah, if you're going off of Enrique cooking somebody in an all-star game, then there's nothing else I can say to you, sir.
Yeah, she's in a discussion. Like I said, Enrique's having a great season. And when it comes to the voting,
he's saying that people know that Enrique cooked them. Like you're talking about, the people know she's MVP, and he's saying people know that Enrique cooked her.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like it wasn't cooking. It wasn't Asia that Enrique was just cooking out there. Okay, so, like we have no hates against CC or against Reese. So if you're coming in this chat just trying to cause trouble, there's plenty of other podcasts you can go do that for because this ain't the one. But to try to act like Asia ain't the fucking MVP, like you're sadly mistaken, sir, ma'am, sir, whatever. All right, Rookie of the Year. I'm sure this will start some fun. Who you got?
If I had to vote right now, it's so hard. It's so hard. I would give it to Angel, and we talked about this before, just because she's had a level of consistency throughout her run that you can't deny and what she's doing. Caitlin would be a very close second with Rakia Jackson being third. And we've talked about this at the end of the season. Rickea Jackson could rise up and take this thing over, because she's been playing some very good ball. So that's definitely my 3-person race for it. But if I had to vote just right now, it would be Angel.
Do you think Rickea would be having or would still end the season how you're thinking if Brink stays healthy?
No. Because Cameron got injured, she's been asked to do more. So we've seen her shine more. So the Cameron Brink's injury is like a blessing and a curse for Rickea Jackson. You know, I hate to see her get injured because I was loving what she was doing and, you know, want to see her improve and grow. But it gives Rickea some more action. So, but yeah, that's a good question. But yeah, without a doubt, Cameron's injury has helped propel her game because coach has no choice but to use her more.
Right.
I mean, when she started the season, she was coming off the bench, but she was playing well coming off the bench. And it was like, hey, she needs more minutes. And for some reason, he was juggling the lineup, and I understand he was relying on his vets, but it's like, hey, if she's more effective than Kia Nurse right now, put her in the game over Kia Nurse. Like,
yeah,
you know, do it. So there you go.
Yeah, I'm interested to see, you know, like how that team, like what they end up doing, you know, as far as obviously like next season once Brink's back. And
exactly. Yeah.
I don't know, you know, like right now where they sit, like with contracts, you know, if they have like a lot of people on 1 year, you know, type deals, but I'm very interested to see like what that roster looks like.
Yeah. They've got some good young pieces on it. I mean, they're like the Chicago Sky of the Western Division, where they've got good young pieces, 2 good rookies on the squad, you know, some young players that have been in the league for a few years that can play very well. There are certain similarities there, so it'll be fun to see how that shapes out. Yeah, I'm looking to see that next year. I can see them overhauling that the way Chicago is now. Like, all right, we're gonna give these young players more shine because they're definitely the future.
Yep, definitely. Like I'm excited to see like where, you know, just the game's going overall, because like obviously we know the talent, you know, that came into the league this season, but you know, we talked about Paige obviously next season, but so much talent, you know, these upcoming like the next, you know, 3-4
years. Yeah.
And hopefully beyond, you know, but as far as we can see right now, like these next few years are going to be.
I'm telling you, I watched the 17 and under national team play the other teams around the league, around the world. Oh, the future of women's basketball is in very good hands. I'm talking very good hands for a long time. So I'm happy that the league is expanding so we can get more of these players in the league and getting their shine, because it definitely needs to happen.
I agree. All right, let's go on to most improved.
Most improved player, Dejanay Carrington of the Connecticut Sun. She's like one of the best two-way players in the league right now. And we said it. She deserved to be an all-star. How she was left off is a head scratcher. But I'll give it to her hands down.
I'm going to go get in some WNBA chats right after this show's over, and I'm going to start cussing out the people because Dejanay didn't make the team, and they better have a fucking reason why she didn't make it too. I need all the reasons from the podcaster, okay? Why she didn't make it. I have her as mine as well, obviously. 6th player of the year. Now, this was the toughest one for me because the people, like when we did our quarter award show, like how the benches and stuff were looking then have changed so much since how they look now. So who we had as the 6 players even in running have moved to starters, have
Yep.
been traded, have who knows? So like this is the only one I literally have blank because I'm like, I'm just gonna steal Ty's answer, whatever he says.
It's you know what, you hit the nail on the head, because we talked about it earlier in the year, how like Kennedy Carter from Chicago was 6th player of the year.
Yeah.
She was playing so well coming off the bench for them, averaging like 15 or 16 points a game and providing them with a big spark. She was it. And
Now she's starting.
And it's like, okay, well, she's gone. What do we do now? It's like other players, like you said, are now starting. We just talked about the Sparks, and a good player for them was Ari McDonald, their backup point guard.
Yeah.
She was coming off the bench. Well, now she's starting. And it's like, okay, Enriquea Jackson was coming off the bench playing well. She could have been in the conversation. Well, now she's starting. It's like, oh, damn it. So where do we go now? Okay, so I got 2 players here, which I can see this going to. One is Temi Fegbeni of Indiana. She was coming off the bench and she was playing well. And we talked about her in like our 2nd or 3rd episode of this podcast, how she was normally a person who started overseas. It might have been the 1st episode. Now she's coming off the bench and it's a different mentality. And now she reached out to Alicia Clark to talk to her to figure out how does she handle coming off the bench and playing her role. And that helped her get into position to do that. She came off the bench. At one point she was starting. Now she's back on the bench and still playing well. So she's in the 6th Woman of the Year conversation. Another player who didn't start the season, but has come into a team and is playing very well is our very own Tip Hayes from the Aces.
That's what I was going to say.
She's like coming off the bench and doing her thing. So she is in the 6th Woman of the Year conversation. And if she continues on having the year that she's having, I can easily see her winning the award. So those would be my top 2 nominees.
Yeah. I could see Tiff, if she continues on how she's been, especially these last few games prior to break.
Yeah. She was on tear.
Shaq. Yeah. Shaquille Oatmeal. Thursdays for sure is always a show at 3 Pacific time. And then the other show is usually Wednesdays, but it moves between Tuesdays and Wednesdays. It just all depends. But usually Wednesdays and Thursdays are the 49ers shows. All right. Coach of the Year.
Ooh. That's a good one. Man. Now that's a tough one. That is a tough one. You know, if I'm voting, I'm giving it to Teresa Weatherspoon in Chicago to take basically a roster overhaul and have all these young players and rookies who haven't played with each other.
Yeah.
And they're playing some good basketball and they're beating teams and they're in playoff position right now. They're fighting for the playoffs. That's a big accomplishment. I didn't expect them to win very much this year. But to go into New York and beat a Liberty team and go to Vegas and beat an Aces team, like they're not beating just all scrubs. They're beating some quality opponents and they're playing some tight games as well against others. So I would definitely give her the nod for what she's doing.
Yeah, I like that. We talked about it. Obviously, people were expecting and talking about, Angels game is it even going to translate in the
Mhm.
W? And is she going to be able to do this? And yada, 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 yada.
Mhm.
We saw her fall to the spot that she fell in the draft, right? And like Teresa has taken her just like under her wing and wrapped her arms around her. And
Yep.
the two of them are just off they go.
Yep.
And you even saw like there's a video going around. And as soon as the All-Star game ended, Angel's there on FaceTime with Witherspoon. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like, and she's like, I'm
Yeah.
so happy for you. Congratulations. You know, like that, you don't just see that. How many of those
Yeah,
other
that
coaches were
doesn't
calling their
happen.
players? Like, I didn't
Yeah.
see not one other video of all the other players that were there, right? Like, so yeah, like we talked about Angel going to that perfect situation for her,
Yeah.
and that's all. I mean, 80% due to the coach
Mhm.
that's, you know, put in place as
Yep.
well. So
Yep.
I like it. I like it. All right, last one, and I'm sure this will be an easy one, and we don't have to go far for it. Comeback player of the year.
Comeback player. Shoot. Comeback player.
Whether it's from injury, whether it's from shit happening, whatever.
Oh, then I got to go Kennedy Carter. I'm glad you threw in shit happening. Because I was thinking injury, and I was like racking my brain, like, okay,
That's why I
blah,
said we don't have to
blah,
go far.
it was out last week. Yeah, shit happening. Oh, it's got to be Kennedy Carter by far. Yeah, out of the league completely last year. Kicked off her team the year before that because, you know, personal issues, just being a hothead to, like we said, just coming back, being in discussion for 6 women of the year, and then starting. And ever since she started, she's averaging over 20 points a game and being that catalyst for them. Oh, yeah. And not getting into any trouble except for that one incident, which wasn't really bad. We ain't gonna talk about it. She's been awesome. So yeah, it's definitely her award.
I agree. And that coach of the year plays a huge part in that whole situation as well, because they're, you know, the way that those two work together. I think this last week that we talked about this, you know, and I brought it up how when Kennedy, you know, she's pissed off on the court or she gets a foul or she's yelling at the ref or whatever, like her first thing she does is come over and talk to coach, and coach is in her ear like, hey, and it ain't like yelling at her like, you better calm the fuck down, you know, like she's like, you know, she, whatever she says, that she knows exactly how to get through to Kennedy that nobody else in the past has been able to do yet. So yeah, like that whole situation, what they have building over there in Chicago, like I'm excited to see. And you know, we talked about LA, you know, with the young team that they got building, Chicago, you know, and the Fever. It's like, obviously, with the two young stars they have, could be building something special as soon as they get rid of the damn coach. You guys know how I feel about that coach. Oh my God, she needs to go. Like, and, you know, talking about the relationship between, you know, Angel and her coach and the call after, like, do you think Chrissy Sides was there FaceTiming Caitlin after the game on Saturday?
Nope.
Like, come on.
Nope.
Like, Caitlin probably is so glad to not have to talk to her for an entire freaking month. Like, Caitlin, they asked her, what do you do? She's like, I'm going to rest. I'm on vacation for a month. Nobody bother me. I'll be back later. Like,
exactly.
and especially you, Miss Sides over there.
Yep. She probably got a burner phone, but she only gave the number to like her family. That's it. You're the only people who got this number and can call me. Don't give it to anyone else.
But yeah,
I don't blame her.
And you saw, like, obviously seeing, you know, all the All-Stars and Team USA and whatever on the court together this weekend, all the stars, you know, that the W has. And like I said, it's just getting better. We have more stars coming out. And that's why the W got to keep growing. We talked about, you know, the Valkyries. Hopefully that'll be the Page Valkyries. And then you got Juju coming out in what, 2 years? Should be right the following year after Page, right?
Maybe 2-3 years
or 3 years. We'll see.
She still got 3 years to go.
Maybe
change the rules, but
maybe just in time When is that other team supposed to?
Well, Valkyries next year. Toronto is supposed to be the year after. So we got 2025 and then 2026. So they'll be established. But we heard from Commissioner Kathy that other teams, other cities are pushing. They want to get in. And what's fun is that franchises that were a part of the league in the past are now stepping up and trying to reestablish themselves. They want to get back in. They're like, hey, let's establish some legacy, bring over the older fans plus new fans and get this going. And everyone wants to see the Houston Comets come back because they started off, you know, the whole dynasty thing. People love them. But there's other teams like the Detroit Shock and teams that have rich basketball cities that want to get back into this. So I'm pretty sure 2 more teams will be announced soon. And we'll see how many come from after that. Because that'll get us up to 16 teams. The league can easily go up to 18 to 20.
Yeah.
Without question. There's enough players out there to fill rosters.
There is.
And we just talked about how there's more young players coming. The Juju Watkins, the Hannah Hidalgos, all of them, they're coming. And they're going to need a roster. So let's keep expanding and get these teams going.
I wish, I was asking because I wish it would have worked out perfectly. How we're talking, like it would be great, obviously, if Paige, can set off the Valkyries. Like it would have been great if Toronto was starting the same time that Juju was coming in, right? Like, and Juju could have taken that team and went off, right? But obviously, it's
but at that point, like another team could be coming in at that point, right? And she could take that team and go off. So there's going to be years of this. It's not all going to all happen overnight. So her time will come.
Yeah. What about Melly's team? What are we going to do over
Washington. They just got to get healthy.
Got to get some new medics.
Healthy. Yeah. They just got to get healthy. Like I'm watching Shakira Alston walk around, during All-Star weekend, looking fabulous, doing her thing. And it's like that's an all-star player herself. That could be in this game, but she's been injured all season, right? Let's get her healthy and get her on the court to help that team win. And we saw Steph in the 3-point contest. I was rooting for her. I said she would win it, but let's get her out there. Dee Richards, great player, great defensive player. Brittany Sykes, they got pieces also. They just need to all be healthy at the same time, especially when you have 2 of your best players not healthy for the majority of the season. That's going to take a toll. And like Melly knows, she'll tell you, like, damn it, our 2 of our best players are literally not playing. It's kind of hard to win when you don't have that. So they'll be all right.
Shit, we started the season off with just one of our best players not playing, and it freaking hurt us. So trust, I know.
You saw how things were off, and it took like efforts from the other 3 stars to like push and get wins and do things like that. And you saw how as soon as that effort was a little bit off, they went on a skid. And it's like, all right, we got to get this right. And it took one of those good players coming back to get it right. See, it's funny how that happens. And Washington doesn't even have that. They don't have 3-4 players to rely on. So they will in a few years, though.
Yeah, hopefully with them being hurt this season, obviously, one of the probably will finish, I hate to say this, about your team, but probably will finish one of the bottom, teams in the league. But at least you get to hope, because we just talked about all this good talent, right, that's coming out of college. And if you can land one of those top girls coming out, that's all,
Yeah.
That might be all it takes to turn around the franchise from
Yeah.
worst to first.
Yep. You land an impact player, your main stars come back, they're healthy, you can go on a run.
Yep. Any closing thoughts? Anything else before we get out of here?
Yeah, just once again, shout out to Phoenix, their organization, and their owner, for putting on a show. He really invested in them, as we saw with the practice facility and such. And I remember when it was announced last year that they would be in Phoenix, the first thing he said was, hey, we want to make this an event as big as the NBA All-Star game. We're not going to treat this like a secondhand thing. We're going to really put on a show here and make it what it should be. And he did that. He lived up to his word. And that's what we need moving forward. Whichever city they choose next, the owner there has to be involved and has to step up and has to, keep this thing going from what started in Vegas last year to this year in Phoenix, and just keep it going bigger and bigger.
Yep.
It's great to see. So that's all I got. What a great weekend. Couldn't ask for anything better.
That reminds me
Thank you, Dawn.
about the whole drinking, and partying, whatever, All-Star weekend. So like they were asked in the presser, Asia and Stewie, about the defense, and lack thereof, whatever. And if they like, that defense is being played, or do they normally like how it is when, basically no defense is being played during the All-Star games. And, Asia's pretty much, like, well, do you want me to be honest or what, And so basically they're saying, like, usually when it's not, All-Star against Olympic time, when it's not the Olympic year, and it's just, normal All-Star festivities, they're out getting drunk and getting all fucked up and all this. So they're like, we're not coming into the game trying to play defense when we're all hungover and have, are pretty much celebrating and, whatever from, half the season and all this, whatever. They're like, now, obviously, and I remember hearing this, during the broadcast or something else, they had mentioned that during the festivities that most of the Olympic girls were drinking water, and that's unusual because normally they're not drinking water, right? Like they're drinking alcohol. And that, they were saying, but, they're trying to take care of themselves, obviously, to get ready for the Olympics. And, and that's what they said during the presser. Obviously, we had, we're playing defense and whatever because we're preparing for Olympics. Like we're not out, we weren't out, getting all drunk and fucked up like we normally would be because we're preparing for the Olympics. So things are a little bit different than how it normally would be. And I was thinking back to, because how they rolled in looking like when it was last year in Vegas, like they were like, hell no, we're never having it in Vegas again.
Yeah.
like we know you guys party, but you don't need to party that much. I forgot the last thing, and now I'll get to Melly's comment, is that, and we'll play this clip, we'll play it next week on the show, is that they had a surprise retirement party for Candace Parker following the first night of All-Star festivities. And they had her daughter read, like a slideshow type thing, like a presentation, and like very, very awesome thing. Obviously, Candace Parker, being the GOAT she is, deserves everything and so much more. So since we have no basketball to really talk about, next week we'll start off with the whole Candace Parker retirement celebration that they had for her and play that video. But yeah, let me pull up this real quick. Melly says,
wait, and real quick to follow up on your All-Star thing. I remember one year they were messed up, and I remember like nobody wanted to play really. Like they were looking at the sideline, looking to see when they would be subbed out. They were just like, it's me, you got me. Like they did not want to be out there because they were messed up. So yeah, it's good that they weren't partying this year, and we got a great game.
Agree. So Melly says, real quick, can y'all talk about why Becky doesn't play Sid more? She and Tip were on fire in the last game against the Sparks, and she took Sid out. Melly, great question.
Girl.
We all would like to know the same.
Face of the league, right? No, but seriously, we talked about this early in the season when Chelsea was out, and we said, hey, who would be that point guard? And we were like, all right, she could do that. And Sid is a point guard who can play, and she should get more minutes just because of that. And she can run the offense. She knows all the plays. She knows all the defensive calls, everything. She deserves more playing time, and she can score, and she's exciting. Like Sid is exciting, but exciting in that good, productive way.
Yeah.
So it's a head scratcher to me why she doesn't get more playing time. It's a head scratcher to a lot of us, because she should definitely be getting more minutes. And I know it's a hierarchy thing. If you play her more, that means you don't play Kelsey enough or Jackie enough or things like that. But there's a way you can manage the minutes right to get her ample playing time, which also helps keep those guys fresh. And that's what I want to see. I would love to see that.
Yeah, I mean, this last game, the last game that we played against Chicago, we're getting our asses kicked, and Sid goes into the game and lights a spark, gets like 2 turnovers, 2 steals, right away, like gets them started going back, and then all of a sudden, on the bench you go, and let's bring Plum back into the game, who's literally shooting freaking air balls.
Yeah.
Like, and can't play defense worth a shit.
I wouldn't have made that move.
Yeah, like Sid plays great defense. So why are you taking out the person that can play defense, and you're putting in the shooter who is having an off night shooting? Like,
off night. That's the thing. And I understand you're like, all right, she can shoot herself out of it, but not on that night. There's certain nights where you can tell a person don't got it. And that night she didn't have it.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, sit this one out. No hard feelings. There's no offense, but you having an off night. I need someone else in there. And right now, these two are making it happen. They're the reason why we got back into this thing. So I'm going to leave them out there. That should have been the call. Makes no sense.
Yeah.
Sometimes coaches outcoach themselves.
And like you said, I don't know if it's, a roster, again, politics in sports things, but, honestly, with the type, and Kelsey, she had a few good games back, but with the type of season that she's having, rightfully so. I'm not, we know what she's going through, all that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wouldn't be mad. And obviously, probably Becky not going to do this because she can't even take her out of the game for freaking 5 minutes when she's playing like shit. Yeah. But I wouldn't be mad if when we come back from the break, if the starting 5 didn't include Plum. And we brought Plum off the bench.
That's bold. See, now you're changing
her defense sucks.
Now you're changing my 6th player of the year pick again.
Her shooting has been, like I said, she had maybe 3 games this whole season so far where her shot has been her shot.
Yeah, but she's really lit it up. Yeah.
And, I continuously get up here and say, the least responsibility that Plum has, the best she plays is when she has to do the little. Now, remember, she won 6th player of the year before. Like, she played great coming off the bench. And then it was like, oh, she's playing so well. Oh, let's put her into the starting lineup. And here we are.
You're all right. That's what we'll move. Make it happen.
Like, you're a piece of shit. You got to go to the bench now. Like, I feel like it's just like in the same exact situation where the Warriors were with Klay Thompson. Like, he needed to be coming off the bench. But since it was Klay,
that's true.
There was no way. And he had to cry and bitch and complain. No way he was going to come off the bench for somebody younger, right? When he's one of the Splash Bros, he won all these championships. Sometimes that's a move that needs to happen. That's a need you know, the move
it's
that
the
needs
best
to
move
happen.
for the team. Yeah. John V, there are 12 teams in the WNBA, 12 total. Next year, there will be 13. And in 2026, there will be 14.
What's up, Pac-Man? Appreciate you coming through. But yeah, so Melly, who knows? Who really knows? That's Becky.
That's right.
Becky being Becky.
Yep.
Never mind. I wouldn't
All
be
right.
mad if some permanent changes didn't happen to this roster coming to the future.
Ooh,
I'll say
well,
that.
let's get into that next week.
Yep.
How about that?
Yeah. Especially if the Aces don't win the championship this year. To be continued.
Interesting. Yep. That's a little teaser for
Dun,
y'all.
dun, dun, dun.
Little teaser. That's how it's done.
All right. So yeah, me and Ty will be back next Monday, same time, same place. Even though there's no WNBA games being played, I'm sure we'll have some Team USA stuff to talk about.
Yep.
We'll talk about, you know, the Candace Parker stuff. We'll talk about some moves to come to the Aces. Cleveland Rockers. Y'all ever heard of them? I'm gonna knock your ass on the rocker.
Old school. All right.
All right. I appreciate
All right.
you all for coming through. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Much love. Stay safe. 20 years ago, they left. Dang. All right, John V. Stop talking to us. We're leaving now.
All right. We're out of here.
Bye,
Peace.
guys. Out of here.